Good morning, everyone. Well, there's a quick move to the top of the range the last few days. The jiggles here. Now we'll see what's going to happen from here. Typically we do not like to see, well, we don't want to buy breakouts from, well, we didn't get to the bottom of the range, which is a big issue. Just this turn here. The ideal scenario would be for us to have, well, not pleasurable, a go nowhere kind of a day to consolidate at the top of the range and form. It would not be a ideal 1, 2, 3. First of all, this really isn't a wide range bar when you compare it to all the ones to the left, except for this one, which is like, yeah, that's a wide range bar. We don't need to measure it. Um, so we don't have a wide range bar. It's not a breakout bar. It's just a green bar. Right? We're a little more decisive. It didn't close at the top of the range, but close enough for government work. And so far right now, it's retracing a little bit into that. Not a big deal. And so we'll see what happens. Can it break out? And part of the comments that I've made, with hopes that it would come down here and break the low, which didn't happen, was that if it pushed through the top of the range, it just moves into a stronger area of resistance, which just leads to more erratic kind of price action versus something where the majorities become more comfortable from however they look at the markets, technically, fundamentally, valuations, whatever. It would have been a better scenario. And so we have how many more days? Well, we got until next Wednesday to make it to the end of the month. And that's a pretty wild, you know, individual bar in the context looking at the monthly chart. So wherever this is going to end by next week, such an enormous wide range on a monthly bar would suggest historically that we're in for probably more erratic back and fill kind of price action. And oh, fifth that yeah, I guess that is right. Just looking at it, kind of myself in a little bit of disbelief, for the size of that bar and the size of the tail. Uh, anyway, we'll look at SPX in a minute. And so weekly chart, we got today to deal with. We'll see where it ends, and we've got overlapping, bars after a little bit of an extended move, and it's just whipping back and forth here. So there's nothing to say that, we see some bullish price action for a few days. And it's okay. That leads us to, on a short-term basis, to have a bias that maybe think that could continue at the top of the range. That's right with the big question mark. And there's nothing to say in this kind of a environment driven by news that it can't go back down to the bottom of the range. So we're in a for the bulls a decent place if it can hold on with limited upside, until it hits the next resistance, overlapping bars, declining 50 MA, and so on. So, things define things maybe that are a little more beaten down and informed bases that might have more room to run up. But, we'll see how that all goes. So without thinking to speak, look at SPY daily and say it is going higher. Well, we're certainly going to look at that. And so Qs or NASDAQ futures anyway, as we've been talking about over the last, I guess, couple of weeks or so, is that there's so many patterns that look so similar. And there are times in the markets where they look, vastly different. And that's, you come up and say, okay, relative weakness, relative strength, and those measurements of relative weakness and relative strength, while still there, are on a much smaller level, right? So as we eyeball these charts and we look at ES versus, the NQs, downtrend, right? Declining 50, top of the range, resistance not far off, higher low. Where's it going to go from here? Weekly chart looking similar, and so on. Now, interestingly, while that's at the top of the range, it is, the last few days it showed day to day it showed a little relative weakness, a little relative strength, nonetheless at the top of the range. And little breakdown here, which happened in the other markets, and then it flipped up, which would lead us to think, hey, you know what? This was some neutral to bearish price action. It broke down. Some shorting happens. Shorts cover. It gets driven up to the range, next reference point, and it's getting tighter. And so as we look at these reference points, now that becomes, it is the higher low. It's a pivot. And so the range now becomes tighter, whereas before it's like the top and bottom of this bar. So as we get into next week, and depending on what happens today, a violation of this pivot obviously would be a negative and would likely drive prices down below. So we're in for the moment, kind of a neutral holding situation. The last 3 days couldn't get through resistance and we're down this morning, and we'll see what unfolds. All right, looking around, let's look at the Dow. Couldn't even get to the top of the range. All right, so still a higher low. That's what I'm talking about. It's, a situation of, well, there's similar patterns overall, but this one is showing relative weakness. And we had not we, but there was the little bit of an unusual UNH, had that move up. I'm trying to click on this here. Had that move up. Well, it had to move down. Forget it. It's red. When they were being looked at by the government for their billing practices, and then it rallied tremendously for their reported earnings, and down it went. So that's the most influential stock on the Dow since it's price based. But anyway, for the moment, it's not a pivot, but potentially a lower high. And for those that like to connect dots, getting a contraction in ranges and volatility to the point of the apex and which way is it going to break. So all right, interest rates yesterday was like, okay, or the day before, can they go up, and which would drive the market down? Another flip flop. So now they're down a little bit here on the pivot. And so while interest rates are down, so it's kind of the day to day gyrations, markets aren't going up. Right? So just top of the range, no help, even though interest rates are down a little bit. Can they continue to move down? We'd look to see what the markets do if interest rates go down, or do they flip back up from the pivot? Well, question marks. Things are at different inflection points, and could just be a go nowhere kind of a day. Transports had a decent day. Similarly, to the top of the range, higher low. We wait and see what they do. Got to look at SMH, right? So we had was the other day, we had some upward movement. Texas Instruments was up. I think LRCX. Now Intel is down. And so just more flip-flopping in the middle of yesterday's range. So kind of looking around to find something that shows unusual relative strength or relative weakness. So kind of cleared the top of that bar, but unfilled gap. So It's different, but similar. Technology, top of the range, downtrend. Um, how about mid caps? We don't look at mid caps that often, right? Top of the range. Okay, some old drawings there. Right. So no matter where we look, we have patterns that are simple. Hey, there's one that looks a little better, huh? Software index. Still into some resistance, but a converging 50 and 200. So it's into resistance. We've got to take a peek into something in software is doing better than others. Check that out. All right. So we look, oh, Bitcoin. It's up a little bit, but yeah, PLTR. Right, exactly. So Bitcoin broke out. Looks like it can go higher. So that looks good. Gold looks like, depending on where it closes, this is what we call, they're really not wide range bars because these are wide, but nonetheless, it jumps out as what we refer to as a bull sandwich, red, green, red. And so we'll see where that ends, but it's correcting further. And this would suggest, especially on a closing basis, that it would come down, to the rising 20 and still in a bull market uptrend. All right. So spiders and SPX, right? Top of the range, declining 20, declining 50, 50 below the 200, death cross, blah, blah, blah. All right. It's down a little bit, as we know, sitting there, give or take. It's right around there on SPX. So not going anywhere at the moment. A little bit of a range contraction. Yesterday was about 150, today 140. And you gotta go out to the options expiration 56 days. And interestingly, exactly at the same, well, kind of say that in a way that it's unusual, but a lot of times it's that way at the same number when you go that far out, where the largest open interest is at 5,400. Now, that's 2 months away. How meaningful is it? You say, well, in the course of a day, probably maybe not so, but it does have some effect. And looking at some shorter time frames, 5410 expiring today for puts, and for calls, well, that's not expiring today. 6 days out, 5545. So, all right, look, this is going to be an inflection point, and it's a whole number. Now, what's interesting, markets are down. We're scrolling this over. These numbers came up from yesterday. So one of the other days this week was like the markets was just the opposite, right? The markets were up and these things came down. It was like they're too bearish. Now these numbers came up, they're too bullish, and it's at the top of the range. So coming down here today in a gap fill, and I say this in the way that you could bet your life on it, so it's just my way of talking. It ain't going down there today, right? We know some other news comes out, some craziness could happen, but look, even if it went down there from here, it's an unfilled gap. It would take something really, really nasty, right? And to go up here today to around the declining 50, that ain't happening either. But whatever jiggles happen in the morning, anything above 5,600 should be a no-brainer, and give or take somewhere around there. And look, you got 55 to get through in the top of the range and the unfilled gap. So, this price is right here where this is converging. You can see my cursor at 55.80-ish. Should be all fine. And at the top of the range, the odds of breaking out and continuing higher without some news is relatively low. All yours, Dan.
Are you done? Excuse me, I heard you stop talking.
When I say it's all yours, Dan, that means I'm done.
Well, I didn't hear it. Someone else can. Let's go. Yeah, happy zero DTE day. I said yesterday, I hope it's a boring inside day. Set up some 1, 2, 3s with the gap down. Remember I said, what if we were to gap under yesterday's low, then we would have a call spread party? But this is nothing. So let's take it one by one. Let's go right to earnings. Now, there was a lot of earnings, and I went through all these to filter them out because I wouldn't have time to go through them all. I think I deleted 80% of them. The amount of junk patterns out there. Um, so let's do what we do every day. Let me look at Thomas here, Wolf. It's a junk bottoming pattern. I'd say if you want to trade the 15 for a day trade. PayPal, yeah, Alex mentioned yesterday, it's topping tail. Like it spiked up, came back down. I'd say 10-minute high, day trade long is fine if the markets are holding. All right, earnings. Intel. This thing has been the biggest dog in decades compared to the others eating their lunch. I mean, this used to be the Nvidia of semiconductors in the internet days, the late 90s, and then got its lunch eaten. So $20, it's range bound, bearish pre-market. Pre-market looks like a 10-minute low short. Yeah, Sam had earnings, but light volume. I didn't. I see one print up here, 252. Yeah, I got it here in my list. It was a good pattern. I looked to sell puts on it yesterday, but the stupid spreads, and the lack of weeklies is what's really kept us calm so far in earnings season. Yeah, yep. I said a beautiful bottoming pattern. Yeah, it's on my list. Back up here, Google. Uh, Capping up on earnings, 165. I wanted to sell the 140s, but there was no juice. Nice weekly bear sandwich. 168, or I'm sorry, 168 was the pre-market high. I wish it was gapping to 168. Then I would say 10-minute low, zero DTE call spread. Now I don't know what to do with it. This was a little like, igniting bottoming pattern. Look at this 15-minute chart. That is amazing strength. Does that WKC alarm go off? All right, so this must have been an earnings stock because I said this 25 just set my alarm off. That's a put spread idea. T-Mobile gapping down 245. So that is a call spread if there's any juice. Alex, I just noticed on the other computer your ARM, is gapping down. So I reset the alarm on that. DLR 161, put spread if there's any juice, but I doubt it. RSG, garbage truck. I see one print here. If it is gapping down, then call spread. But unless I see liquid prints, I don't trust it. Pico bullish gap, put spread if there's any juice. Pico, that's what they put on tacos, I think. Pico sauce. There's a WKC. All right, so that's a put spread idea. Fix. This was one of my favorite bottoming patterns yesterday. I said if it opened flat by the high, I see a print up here at 408, which is too big. So nothing to do now. There's the SPSC I like a lot. I'm going to put that in a window. SPSC looks great. Now I like to wait 5 minutes on all earnings stocks at a minimum. Sky West. It gapped up, then down a little. But this is a put spread idea. 30-minute high. Alex, we're going to short you under yesterday's low. MTX. I set an up alarm. Let's see if it can negate this little gap down. These are earnings in the morning, ABBV. We wanted to sell 165 puts, but it was only like 40 cents. But nice W bottom, nice reversal there on major support weekly. But now the gap up's messing it up. AON 344, nasty gap. That's a big, ugly gap. I think I said yesterday, if it opened flat, then I would love it over Wednesday's high. That's a nice retest pattern, but the gap's messing it up. Charter, no-brainer put spread if there's any juice. He's usually spready though. This thing, 275, nasty gap. SAIA. I'll put it in a window just to see what it wants to do. TNet 82. That's a bullish gap. There's put spread idea. TNet. Put that in a window. And cry. Well, it was a potential bottoming pattern, but not anymore. So I'm deleting you. So there was a ton of earnings. And look how much I deleted already. So that's kind of my final list right there. If you all have any others you want me to look at. Alarm CGC. We bought the $1 calls on this and for 44 cents. So now with the gap up, we're going to have a 50% gain with this gap up. We bought them for 44 cents and now they're going to be 65 cents in the money plus a couple pennies time decay. So let's just call it 67. So look at that, 50% gain if it opens right here. But it looks higher, so I'm going to hold mine. Rocket Lab is posted yesterday, top of the range, but I love the 15. I like that it's down a few pennies. We're going to buy calls over the high. HII did not trigger yesterday, but it's good to go today. Is that gapping over the entry? Yeah, it is. So let's do 5-minute high. If it's gapping over it. Posted this Reddit last night as a possible bottoming pattern here for directional input spread, and look, it's gapping up here today. I prefer put spread. Tesla, big old bottoming pattern, nice pre-market. So 5-minute high on that. If it gaps over the entry, ARC B. We are long this on this gap breakout day. We started trading a bunch of Bitcoin stocks, like the Mister, the coin, etc. So let me reset the alarm on ARC Bravo. Set it at 95. ARMA alarm, Alex. Said yesterday, that could be a day trade. I like the 15-minute chart. Yesterday's high, day trade, stop under this base. I'd say stop under 110, should be plenty. You mentioned HCA. Is that Sam? Alex, Sam's typing under your name, man. Why? That's not nice of him. Marvel. It's a potential bottoming pattern. It's still junk. Look at the angle of the 20 and the 50. Remember, Thomas? A true bottoming pattern. I want the 20 minimum to be flat. You know, hopefully the 50 also. Compare that bottoming pattern to Teak Tech. So we're long this. We added yesterday. Look, downside shakeout, inverse head and shoulder. Big old void, 1, 2, 3, gap reversal weekly. So that's a bottoming pattern. And let's see, I actually had an order to sell some pre-market. Let's see if it got filled. Alex alarm, talking about you. 5-minute low, you can short Alex. Sam, that must give you some personal satisfaction when I say that, right? Doesn't that like bring tingles to your body? Shoot. See, we're talking about him and he's selling off. So that's now wigging out the reward to risk. All right, HII. Yeah, I gave 5-minute high. So that's good to go. 5-minute high. All right. T-Tech, did I get filled? No, I didn't. So I'm going to cancel my order now. All right, so HI looks good. Rocket Lab. Triggered. Let's wait 5-minute high on Rocket Lab. Getting spam here. Feedback Hub. How likely are you to recommend this PC to others? Turn off all notifications. Cannot stand spam. That looks great now, Alex. 5-minute high. I'm going to reset my alarm. Futures are doing a big fat nothing sandwich. Is that the right reference? Nothing sandwich. AXON alarm. That was a bottoming pattern also, I remember. AXON bottoming pattern is third. Now this one, particularly with the market a mess, I would wait 30 minutes. All right, SPSC. I'm not going to mess with AXON. Let's see what that does. Shoot, our CGC selling off. You know, I told Greg I was trying to short some stock pre-market. CGC. I was trying to short stock at 179 pre-market, and I got this warning sign about all kinds of fees they were going to charge me. Ah, shoot, our T-Tech pulling in. All right, so I'll just let this play out. We still have an open game. All right, AXON. I like. Greg, what are your thoughts? AXON. I love it if it closed here, but 15-minute is bullish breaking out. I like the last 2 days bars. The market's neutral. Tick
We
negative.
can put a stop under yesterday's low.
All right. Yeah, no, of course. I was concerned more about the timing. You know, you might have said 30-minute high, whatever. But yeah, we'll do a half flop now. That's good. That's an expensive one. All right, I'll do that in a minute. All right, Rocket Lab. Let me reset the alarm here, 22:36. Q's strongest again, just like yesterday. HII 5, it's now some elevated 5-minute high on this, which is 224.89. Thanks. I did not even look at that. All right, I'm just gonna tell them to cancel it then. Thanks. I didn't look at it. All right, thanks. Yeah, I don't I so Tesla 5-minute high would be 263.67. Oh, I got Tesla puts that expire today and next week. So the ones for today, I got the 175s, $90 lower. I'm just gonna let those do nothing. So Alex, this is, I tell you things like this just to, so you can have more experiences over time. So my IWM, so it gapped down, correct? Correct. The short puts that I have expiring today and next week are profitable. Well, let me rephrase. They were already profitable. They are more profitable right now, despite the gap down. Despite the gap down, I'm more profitable because I have a column here, P&L open, and a column P&L day because of volatility and time, volatility contraction and time contraction, which is theta. Correct. Snow. It's just up a lot. It's up, Thomas, from here to here. Resistance. It would be a day trade only to me. Vert. Vert I like better, Thomas, because it's a red bar ignored and it has a bigger void. And I like the 15. So I like this one for a day trade and swing. The A/B test, I know totally different stocks and sectors. I get it, but this is a better day and swing trade to me. Let me check. I do 0 DTE puts and next week. For today, I do the 84s. Wow, 36 by 86. You know what? I'm going to try to sell the 84s for 75. And Sam, what would be my cost basis if assigned? Order sent. Tesla triggering. 263.67. $84, $86 for today. $0.75. Tesla, I'll post later. Let me check next week. Puts here also. Correct. Good job. 81. Man, this thing has juice for next week. If this thing doesn't have earnings, I'm gonna pop the 79s. All right, I'm pulling up TC. Can anyone tell me quick when earnings are? I'm gonna pop the 78s naked if there's no earnings. Vert 423. That was 2 days ago. All right, shoot. Let's do some popping. All right, let me try 90. I'll be the guinea pig. So if I get filled instantly, I'll tell you to go higher. 90. Boom. No fill. Now I'm going to try the 77s. 70 cents. Filled. All right. So let's do that one. And I'll keep my other order out too. We're short 7 DTE. 77 puts for 70 cents. Stop week low. I go fill in another one. Yeah, I got filled on that 78 also. Right. Got X on here. Or I'm not filled on the 0 VT either. That's Sky West. There's a mess, no interest. Yeah, consumer confidence. Sam, don't say it's so. HII, did that trigger? Yep. Um, HII, 5 minute high. It's not 5 minute high. 224. Yeah, that was pre-market. All right, 224.89. Rocket Lab. WRB. Oh, that's a low alarm. We did a half lot yesterday. Pellet here. That's doing good. We sold a third lot only yesterday. CGC. Yeah, didn't get filled pre-market, but I still have a nice open game. Just don't. It should stabilize right here, but I don't like the opening bar. Yes. Yeah, that's a dog. Yeah. Oh, I got Pelletier puts actually that expired today. There only should only be a penny. I'm short the 94 puts for today. I'll close them for a penny. Oh, they're actually 2 cents right now. But I got filled at a penny. I got filled on the bid. Um, Fedora doing nothing but fine. STZ, nothing. T-Tech pulling in. We have a very light inventory. The vert, nice. Whoever gave that to me. I got filled on 2 out of 3 of my puts. I didn't get filled on the zero DTE or but I did the next 2 weeks. But yeah, 5 minute high too. Um, I gotta be. I'm gonna put a buy stop on my 189 under the days. So 192.20. Just to protect my gains. Or 192.18. Putting a contingent order in. Buy to close at market. 192.18 or lower. Done. Rocket Lab. Triggered. And this one. We were gonna buy the $21 calls. For next week. I got a little spready. Let's um man, market's a big fat nothing, but there's a void on the hourly still, so gotta be careful on new longs here. Let's hold off on the Rocket Lab. I'll watch our stock entry. Don't need SkyWest here. So I'll put Rocket Lab instead. BCL, I sold puts yesterday. We're doing nothing. Well, then it's fine. Then just manage it. Then just manage it. All right, I'm out of my then just manage it, Alex, is the answer, but I didn't like the puts spread. All right, so I closed, Alex, my IWM puts for 21 cents. I sold them for like 90 yesterday, something like that. And the ones for next week are only profitable by a dime. So now I gotta ask the question. Do I want to keep the stop? Where it's the 184s way down here for next week. But see, that's my tight management. I'd rather just hit the sidelines. Because this looks like it can fall $1 or so. You know what? I'm gonna move it. Break even. We have a small open gain. Four. And I killed mine at 93. I think I'll tell them the same. Just trimming a little inventory. That's all. Diamonds and IWM the weakest. Diamonds might be a short here. Yeah, it's in the upper 2/3 of that, but that's the most bearish 15-minute chart to me of the horseman. Put the money on my CCL. Oh, that's VRT. Well, they held there, which is messy. Ah, that's why I played. That's what got us moving. Shoot, I should have waited for that number before bailing on IWM. So they met it and they're excited about that, I guess, because it's not worse.